everybody, welcome to another Zoom interview here on Direct Motocross. I'm Billy Rainford, and we were looking for something different to do here, and as well, you can't maybe see yet because I'm doing all the talking at the moment, but we got a birthday boy here, and we're going to play Name Your Greatest Race of All Times here with Kyle Beaton. Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Billy. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a long time since I've done an interview, so I'll probably be a little rusty.
That's awesome. Not for me, but I'm still rusty, so it doesn't matter. But I should have mentioned too. This one is brought to you by the great people over at Leatt. So thank you very much for Leatt for getting behind Direct Motocross and what we do here. One day we'll actually be able to get out and ride and test some product. I know I've got a full set of cool gear to try out too as soon as we get able to get doing that. But anyway, thanks to them. But Beach, man, I've known you a long time. We've had some adventures over the years.
Yeah, we sure have. We go, going way back to England and
all
over Canada and even the Supercross races down south. They always seem to have bumped into each other all across the world. So
it's kind of funny. It's funny. I'll tell you one thing, man. It's so cool to be in my position to get to interview people and chase the racing and the families and the riders, because man, I've got these great stories with almost everybody in our sport, and it's just the most important thing to me doing this.
Yeah, well, like everyone knows, especially in Canada, motocross is just a big family and brings all of us together. And usually we all get along pretty damn well, and we're all there for the same thing. So it makes for one heck of a good time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, obviously the gate drops, it gets pretty serious and all that stuff, but somehow we managed to keep it as everybody in the they always say it's low key or low, it's everybody that comes up from the States says the same thing, right? How it's so chill.
Yeah.
Let's back it up here, man, and go over some history with you. I mean, the point of this is happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm afraid to ask, buddy, how old are you?
32, just turned 32 today. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm 80 years old though, after all those years of racing.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm obviously way older than you. Physically, you feel old. Mentally, you feel the same as you did when you were 18. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. I feel like I can still go and do everything. And, obviously I don't ride dirt bikes very often anymore. I snow bike a lot during the winter, and you think you still got it and you still got some sort of endurance, and you got nothing. It's the body's dying for the next week. So it's definitely been a bit different, and a bit of a life change over the last 7-8 years here, but all for the best, and obviously moving on with chapter 2 of life and all that fun stuff.
Right. It's funny, isn't it? And then this stupid thing gets in the way too the older you get.
Yeah, the old mind, it likes to wander at times, and a lot of reminiscing with buddies and stuff, like Noof and Joey Sutherland and Brad McLean and all those old moto guys, and we always get together and talk about the good old days. And it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but I mean, I guess it would have been 2012 was my last year of racing.
Oh, well, that's obviously on my list of questions. 2012.
Yeah, so
wow.
I mean, it's already been 8 years.
That's incredible, isn't it? Wow. Time, yeah, it just keeps speeding up and speeding up. My dad always said that it goes faster and faster the older you get, and it's happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I mean, and before we forget as well, it's also Colton Fasciotti's birthday today. We share a birthday.
That's right.
So he's the big 3-2 as well. But I am 2 hours older.
Oh, you're 2 hours already? 2 hours older? Okay.
Yeah.
Funny, the older twin. That's
exactly.
Okay, man. Well, let's back up, talk about a few things from coming through the ranks. We got you here. I don't think we're going to run out of tape, so we're good here. Let's go back. So actually, where are you right now?
I'm in BC in Langley. Live with my girlfriend and her son. We rent a house just up from my parents, so we're still in the neighborhood and around everyone. And yeah, just doing chapter 2 of life. We're expecting in July. We have going to be a dad in July, so pretty excited about that. And talking about how time flies, it seems like we just found out that she was pregnant a week ago, and the due date's coming up quick.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations. And I'm guessing that might be her right over your right eye.
Yeah, she's up in some of those photos there.
There you guys are. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Hey, now we always joke like I lost my dad recently, and it's tough. I mean, moto families are so close and everything. You, do you? If I could point and say anything, a kid your age, I just want to say, man, enjoy all the time you have with the moto dad and your family and stuff. I mean, you're close to them. It's got to be pretty cool, huh? Living that close.
Yeah, and like obviously my condolences to you, Billy, and your family, and you know, it's a bummer to hear that news. But yeah, I mean, it's cool that I'm still able to live close to my parents and you know, most of my family and my brother and my sister. So yeah, it's important to spend as much time with them as we can, and obviously with the baby around the corner here, we're going to be passing the baby off, I'm sure, as much as we can to grandpa and grandma. So yeah, they'll obviously be a huge part of the life of the baby, and yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I always, I'm always interviewing guys like your age or younger, all the racers and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the people my age would talk about stories of racing your dad. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of funny how the generations are connected and everything there with when you get to my age.
Yeah, well, I'm part of that BC Old Timers Facebook page or whatever.
Right.
And recently they had quite a few old photos going on of back when there's a movie that a bunch of them shot, and my dad was actually the stunt guy that jumped his bike into the pond.
Amazing.
So
What was that called?
big. Sorry?
Remember what that video was called? Movie was called?
No, I have no idea. I'd have to go back and look it up there, but it was something weird name or something.
Okay, well, I'll Google something weird name.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well let's back it up. So obviously your dad, you just talked about that. So obviously that's how you got your start. Did you play any other sports? I mean, obviously your dad raced, you came up racing, but what else did you do? Was there ever? I talked to Cole Thompson about that, having all his older brothers this week, and there's really no chance he was going to do anything else. Did you do anything else?
Yeah, actually, I played soccer and baseball for quite a few years. Baseball was the first one to kind of end. I was a very competitive kid, and I wasn't on like a rep team in baseball, so I'd get frustrated, and I basically just quit because we weren't winning, and you know, it just wasn't fun for me. And soccer was good, and I kept playing soccer. It was good cross training for moto at a young age, and then eventually moto just like kind of took over, and I didn't have time to go do the soccer thing. But I don't think I was a team sports type of guy. I was more of the moto style, on your own. It's always just your fault, or you know, I don't know. I just would get too frustrated with teammates and stuff like that. So
Right, that's interesting. I think it's an important lesson for kids when they're younger to play team sports, just to get to know that kind of thing. But a lot of people do switch off and like prefer the individual sports. Again, we always say moto is a team sport, but obviously when you're on the bike, it's an individual sport, of course. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a good lesson for kids to play team sports too, though. I think.
yeah, I think every kid should play team sports, and obviously we'll be getting our kid into team sports, and it just gets them out and meet people, and makes them not shy and maybe a bit more outgoing, and
yeah, for sure,
teaches them a skill and to have respect for others and stuff like that. So I think team sports are great, and like you say, motocross, it is a team sport in a way, with your having your trainer and your mechanic and obviously your team. But at the end of the day, when that gate drops, it's basically all of you. So.
Right. Hey, you ever read that Andre Agassi's tennis book? Was really interesting, talking about, and I never really thought about it, but he said tennis is like the most isolated single person sport. You're out there, it's just you. And he said he just hated it, the fact that you're out there and you could have a meltdown and just people are you're just out there by yourself. It's kind of an interesting book if you've never read that Andre Agassi book. It's pretty it touches on the team sports, individual sports thing pretty good.
Yeah, I've never read that book, but yeah, I can see how that is. I mean, literally, there's only two people playing at a time, and the little stadium that they're in is full, and like they're watching your every little move. Where, like at least motocross, there's like 40 other guys out on the track that can take some of the heat away if you mess up or make a mistake.
Yeah, I just found it was really interesting to read about the way he described the feeling of what it was like out there. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. But okay, so what was your first race number? Why did you choose your first race number?
It was 132, and that would have been my dad's number.
Classic.
So kind of just, yeah, rolled with that. And then it changed because someone else in Canada had it a couple of years later, and that's when I went to 134. And basically that carried that on into the pro scene. So
Okay. Now, I lived in Vancouver starting in 1996. Now, I remember, who did you come up racing against, like out there in BC? I mean, obviously Colton was he's from Aldergrove, I guess, right? He's from out there in the Lower Mainland. Who else did you come up with?
so Colt lived like 10 minutes away, so grew up racing with him. Brady Sharon, who else? Dusty. He was on the island, obviously. He was a little bit older, but we'd always see him at the track, and we'd get to race each other in like the super mini class or whatever. I'd be on my 60 and they'd be on their 80s. But yeah, I mean, then there's a bunch of other guys that kind of stopped racing before we all did, like Blake Krasinski and a few other guys. But yeah, there's a few of us that kind of all grew up together and kind of went most of the way.
Were you like, I mean, obviously we think of you, Colton, and Brady, and Dusty. Were you guys all like really close, like in battles in the super mini class? What year were you racing super mini?
Oh God, that would have been. I started in my first race was the fall of '95.
Okay.
In arena cross. So then I did another full year on 50s. And then 60s. So it would have been like, 97, 98, 99.
See, that's funny because I remember going out to a race with my buddy out at Tawasin. Man,
Yeah.
terrible track. But I remember I took a break because the little bikes were going out. So I'm like, oh man, I got to go lie down. So I went and laid down in my van, and I just heard these kids going insane on 60s. And I think it was probably you and Brady. And it was like, what is going? Like, I didn't know you guys then, right? I just moved out there, and I'm like, yeah. So I remember that. That was not a fun track, really, was it? Did you like it?
I didn't mind it, actually.
Okay.
I liked the big jumps that they had and stuff. And obviously some days were better than others with the dirt and it being hard pack or soft. But yeah, so Colt was always like kind of like a step above us, like a class above us, just because he was a bigger kid, a tall kid. So he always seemed to be like that one step and year ahead of us. And then of me and Brady. But yeah, me and Brady were pretty much, we battled our whole mini careers and kind of moved up as together.
Okay, well, so what about like intermediate year? What was your intermediate at like a Transcan year, and who's that big battle, or did you do that, or?
Well, funny story. This is a good one, actually. So that year, that was my last year on 80s and riding intermediate, because I was on my 100 riding intermediate. And we had gone to the Western Amateur National, and I had won like 11 out of 12 motos, and that's the year I won the bronze boot. So I think that would have been 2002. And then we had shipped the bikes out to Ontario, and I was riding in the backyard on the pit bike like 2 weeks before, and crashed and broke my collarbone. So yeah, we didn't end up making it there for my final amateur year to the Transcan, but yeah, that my dad was not happy. He didn't even take me to the hospital. He's like, you can wait for your mom to get home from work to go to the hospital. I'm not taking you.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh yeah, he didn't take
amazing.
me. I had to wait for mom to get home, and before she would take me to the hospital. It was a broken collarbone, and yeah, he didn't talk to me for a while either. He gave me the silent treatment. He was not happy.
Isn't that amazing? There's quite a few stories about pit bikes and injuries and big missed races because of those.
Yeah, so like I passed, Jess Pettis when he was younger, giving him don't ride pit bikes, they're dangerous. And quite a few kids that I coach out here, it's like, stay off those pit bikes. And obviously they don't listen to you, and they end up, I think Jess broke his foot at one point, and then there was Devin Sash broke his foot as well, or ankle. So there's been a few kids that I've like told this story about, and it turns around and bites them in the butt too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, you just named off a few there, but yeah, there's obviously a longer list even than that. It's pretty bad. It's tempting to get out there and do that. Then yeah, inevitably stuff goes wrong. But okay, so what? I remember very well Brady's first pro race. Remember Nanaimo, that first turn?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
crashed and Woody broke his arm. I remember his dad passed right out.
Yeah. It was either,
Right
was
off.
it his, yeah, it was, I think it was his humerus, his upper arm.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was,
Was that your first race then too? Pro race or what?
no, my first pro race was in arena cross,
Oh, okay.
Abbotsford Arena Cross, which would have been the fall of 2002, I believe.
Wow, I probably have 4 or 5 photos of that. Okay.
And I believe I finished second to Lance Smale. And that was in the old, I don't know if you ever went to the old Abbotsford Arena Cross, the little pole barn type thing.
Ah, geez, I don't even know. No, I don't think. No, maybe I didn't go to that one.
And I believe Al Dick was putting on the races back then. I
Okay.
think he was.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember we used to go over to the island and we go over to some arena crosses over on the island and stuff. I remember that. That was.
Yeah, the Meadows or something they called
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Down the hill, down the speed trap down there, and
Yeah, exactly. Where everyone would get nailed by the
yeah,
cops.
oh yeah, that was that. And the after party in Nanaimo, remember that? And everybody racing to get to the ferry.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah. All right. So what was your first pro motocross race though, aside from the arena cross? And how did it go? What was that?
Did I think one just got I think it was Mission that year was the first round.
Oh, okay.
And I just saw a video of it. I want to say a couple of weeks back. I pulled the whole shot, and then in the third corner, I washed the front end out and crashed.
Was that a rainy year or not a rainy year?
No, it wasn't a rainy year. No,
Okay.
it looked pretty good, but I believe it was Mission, and I was riding under Blair Morgan's tent.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know.
So that was through Clearbrook Yamaha, and then basically Blair took my bikes that year.
Okay. Yeah, you're super long relationship with Clearbrook, right? Back in the day, is Kyle Beaton, Clearbrook, Yamaha was just like those two just went together.
Yeah, and that started in, I think it was 2000 that I started riding for Ed, and basically rode for him till I moved to Blackfoot in 2009. So yeah, there's like 9 years with Ed. So me and Ed are still really close today. I still talk to him quite often, and he's the guy that really helped get my career going and gave me that chance to do what I did.
Right on. Hey, I don't know if I'm getting this right or wrong or whatever, but is it not true that you and Donk kind of got in trouble at Blackfoot because you're having too much fun?
Yeah, probably. There was.
Oh, here's laughing.
Yeah, there was. I mean, obviously, I'm
No
very
smiling. No, too much smiling under the tent.
Yeah. I'm a very outgoing person. I'd like to, go talk with your buddies at the races and interact with the fans lots. And Donk's obviously a very outgoing guy, and I don't know if that just suited that team. There was a lot of different ways that they wanted us to go. I mean, I don't know about him, but definitely myself. It was a weird couple of years, to be honest. I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot different than what it was, and in a way, I kind of think that it turned the fun of racing dirt bikes around and made it too much of a job and just put too much pressure on myself. And I think that's kind of when things kind of started going a little sideways. The fun wasn't there, and just wasn't enjoying it as much as I was before.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be. I mean, I was never at that level, obviously, but that's got to be the balance to keep, because dirt biking, we all do it because it's fun, and then when it becomes a job, if you can force it to still be fun, but if you know what I mean, it's just such a tough balance.
Yeah, and like that, those were the years. Like the year before I started riding for them, I had done some Supercross, and I really wanted to do that again, and they said no, and I couldn't go do that. So that kind of put a sour taste in my mind right away. And I don't know, I just always felt like I was stepping on eggshells, and basically, hey, can I go to the washroom? Is that okay? Like, it got to like kind of that sort of point.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to throw any of those guys under the bus. I just remember hearing that story and thought it was kind of fun. Not fun. But
Yeah. I mean, it is what
not
it is.
fun. Not fun.
I'm sure that they would agree, that we didn't fully gel. Another thing was like I had rode Yamahas for years before switching to them, and had worked with Frenchie in the States, and got some factory Yamaha parts, and I knew how to set up that Yamaha, and I remember going and testing the race bike for the first time, and I've never been so disappointed in a bike in my life.
Oh no.
It was a bit of a confidence killer, to know, like, man, I thought this was going to be the best bike I ever rode, and it wasn't. And I think I had a lot of suggestions and wanted to try a lot of different stuff, and they kind of had the attitude that we build the best stuff, and this is just what you get.
Right. Hey, I just posted a happy birthday to you picture up on Instagram, and it's you cycling with Colton Fasciati and JSR, and maybe they were disappointed in your calves.
Yeah, maybe. I think that was probably the first. I think we showed up in the first day. That was the first week there, Billy.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, that all good.
All right. Well, before we get to, I mean, there was that big crash you had in Moncton, and then the problems in the hospital and the language, and oh my God. But let's quickly go back to that trip over to England. Back, was that? I don't even know when that was. Was that 2010? 2011? I don't even remember.
The last one, I guess, I was on Cowie, so yeah, it would have been 11.
Because I was only there once, so.
Yeah, so that would have been 11. I believe I was on Kawasaki's. That was I just signed with Leading Edge or whatever. And yeah, so that would have been 2011.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll tell you, man, every time, you know, when I'm on the floor at the Supercross races down south and everything, every time I bump into Dave Hellier or Rich Winkler, they're always asking me about you and asking how you're doing and how's Beats? Always. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I talk to Dave quite often, like on Facebook and stuff, and
okay,
kind of stay in touch with him. But yeah, those were some good times, and obviously those boys are a riot, and yeah, it was never boring going over there.
Those two guys. Can you remember when they were doing trying to make fun of accents? Oh my God, it was funny. And we went with oh boy, why am I blanking on his name? Tony Lane took us to Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
Remember that crew? We went there. Went to that. It was called the Queen's Head, and it was either Rich or Dave. Remember the place was carpeted and it just reeked. And one of them said, "Queen's Head. It should be called the King's Feet."
Yeah, that was like old greasy dog carpet.
Yeah, a bunch of dogs came out.
Yeah.
Remember that little kid? It was like January or February or something like that. And that little kid was thinking it was Halloween, dressed up as Spider-Man, walking around. Remember?
That place was weird. I remember that now. It was really weird. There's a lot of weird things going on.
I know. Yeah. My mom's chiming in. All right. So what else? Now, so what year? So 2012 was your last year. Does that mean Moncton? Was that 2012? Was that your last?
Yeah.
It was the last one.
So Moncton 2012 was the end of her.
Really? Didn't you and Spenny, I think, got together, right? Or something coming off that just after the finish line.
Yeah, of all people, it ended up being me and him, of course. So nothing to do with him. It just, I had overshot that triple and just landed flat, and my arms and legs just gave out, and there's that rise coming up the other side, and it turned right at the top, and I just clipped his back tire. So yeah, it wasn't pretty, that's for sure. Kind of knew right away that the leg was broken, and you know that whole year was a struggle, and it was probably, you know, the most I've ever trained and got prepared, even mentally prepared. And I felt like that was the year I had a good Supercross season and everything was kind of clicking, and rolled into Kamloops that year. And I remember hole shotting and having a huge lead. And then Brock Hoyer's dog actually ran out onto the track on the back straightaway, and I missed it by like inches. And then all like these memories of like getting hurt and just like the risk, and it just flooded my mind, and basically it was over then. It was I was mentally beat right away after that, and just didn't seem to be able to recover from it.
I got put out there asking people to ask you questions. We'll get to this. Oh, look at Brent Worrell, just he's asking a question. But yeah, I said, hey, we're talking to Beats. Anybody have any questions? But I want to quickly talk though about your AMA Supercross stuff. Talk about some of your best stuff there. How did that go?
Yeah, that stuff went really well. It was obviously something that I've always wanted to do, and I seem to have excelled a lot better at the indoor racing than the outdoor stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of money to do it. I obviously did it on my own, and but yeah, won some LCQs, qualified right out of heat races. And I think I had 2/11ths were my best finishes. So not too bad at all, with the fields that we had back then. And yeah, it was a good time. I'm glad I could check that off the bucket list and, say that I was a part of that.
Right now, just like all you BC guys, right? You came up racing the Future West Moto Series, right? You guys, you're honed your indoor skills, riding all year. I mean, you guys are down at the river there in January when we're back here in the East, skiing or playing hockey, right? So it's like a pretty good advantage there. Like so many of you guys just excel at the indoor stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just,
glad to help.
obviously we've had a great couple of series out here throughout the years, and yeah, it just allowed us to ride year round and get used to that tight riding. And a lot of our tracks too, like our private tracks around here, everyone's land is a little bit smaller. I think out in Ontario, either you have the big farmlands or you're more in a subdivision. So their tracks tend to be a little bit more spread out. But, people out here where they have an acre or two, they still build the track and it becomes more of a arena cross track. So I think we're just used to that style of riding.
Right. Any, I want to talk about a couple more things too, but any regrets over your racing career? Anything you look back and go, man?
No big regrets. Maybe in the younger days, just maybe jumping on board with training harder, when I was like 14, 15, 16, maybe putting a little bit more effort into it. But being a 14-year-old kid and, having no worries in the world and things were going well, you just don't think about that stuff. But I don't know. And I think another little one is maybe wished I would have just stayed with Ed and kind of always kept just doing my own thing, because it always seemed to work better that way.
Yeah, it's funny, huh? It's like, it's interesting what works for certain personalities, certain riders and things like that. Some stuff just doesn't work with some people. So
yeah,
find that stuff out later, right? You keep trying to jump to the next best thing, and it's not always the best thing, right? So it's just you always live and learn.
Yeah, the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Hang on, let me think of another cliche. A Rolling Stone? No, that doesn't fit. But okay, hey, when you were a kid, who was your hero? Like, you grew up as a little kid, who were you looking up to?
Honestly, it was Blair Morgan.
Nice.
He had come out to do our arena cross series. I think Al had brought him out to race, and I remember doing one school with him, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then obviously him racing sleds and being on TV and doing the whole X Games thing, it was like, that guy's rad. And
yeah.
I always looked up to Blair, and then it was super cool, obviously, being able to spend some time with him and learn off him in the first couple of years of my pro career. And yeah, we became pretty close there. And yeah, he was always just someone I really looked up to. Same with Darcy Lange, being the guy that put it out there and went down south and made a name for himself down there. And obviously me and him are very close now as well. So yeah, just a couple of local, Canadian guys that did very well.
Nice. How is Darcy? Is he still on the island, or where is he living these days?
Yeah, he's still in Courtenay there. So I talk to him every once in a while. He's trucking along, doing pretty good. Just got his family and busy with that. And I think he's working in his father-in-law's, I think he's got a pole yard or a lumber yard type thing. So
that's funny. My one of my best buddies in Vancouver, his dad, Larry Jangula, was the mayor of Courtenay for a long time. Maybe still is. I'm not sure how that works, but
oh wow.
Yeah, pretty wild. Eh? Okay, of all the tracks and stuff you raced, I'm gonna hit on a couple little silly, usual questions. What was your favorite track, like, looking back?
Obviously, like, Sandali would be one of my favorites, just because I always did well there.
Well, because that's coming up in my main question here in a minute.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I always liked Nanaimo. I think it was just, everyone obviously hates that place, but I always liked it. It was kind of technical. Like, it wasn't just pin it, hold on. You actually had to have some throttle control and some finesse and some technique. And obviously there's some big jumps, more kind of supercrossy stuff. So I always enjoyed that place.
Okay, yeah, it was always so, hit or miss weather-wise too, right? You always get there and you're like, oh man, is it going to be, what are we going to get? So it's obviously rains a lot there. And if it's early in the year, it was always tough. But yeah, there've been some good battles. Some really, I enjoy going there. The photos were amazing with the, the bay in the background and stuff in that top corner. So certainly nice.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we're used to riding the mud out here because it always seemed like it rained even our local stuff was always rain days, and I think we just got used to it. And I think a lot of us were good mud riders, growing up too from the West Coast. And
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know, just I think it was kind of my home race too. A lot of family, a lot of friends, and obviously the scenery on a nice day. You could look over Nanaimo and made for some cool photos.
You just look nicely over the penitentiary.
Yeah, there you go.
So what? Okay, so you've obviously seen it all. You've oh, hey, what happened there? Where'd you go? You hit a button.
Sorry, someone's trying to call me.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
We're just getting the bugs worked out. We don't know. So what? Okay, you've seen obviously tons of races, tons of people come and go. Who nowadays, is there a kid you kind of have your eye on that you're kind of who's impressing you, or what's going on now these days?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm still involved a little bit with coaching some kids and then building the Future West Arena Cross tracks. But yeah, and then there's this little Braxton Zettner.
Oh, sure.
He's one of the kids that I help out. So he's just hopping on to 60 now, kind of got almost a year under his belt. And I think he's going to be a pretty fast kid here in the next few years. He already rips, but I think he's going to be one to kind of go all the way.
He's got the name too. I mean, come on, you throw a kid Braxton Zettner. Is that you say Zettner? I'm gonna go pick something up. Not Zeitner?
Yeah, Zettner.
Well, that's a good kid to get your name beside because he's got the skill at a young age. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and I remember his first race actually. It was Armstrong Arena Cross. I guess that would have been 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And he showed up to do our schools, mine and Ryan's school in the morning, and he was petrified because
the start you had to go from outside and squeeze through the little door.
He wasn't even that. He was scared to just ride because all the other kids, right? He had never rode with other kids before, so he was scared. So he ended up not joining the school. And I talked him in after to spinning a couple laps on his own. And I had to give him my goggles to convince him. So I gave him my goggles, which I had to pay for because I wasn't getting free stuff then. And he ended up going out there, and then boom, he went out, road practice qualifier, and then just lit it up, man. The kid just took off from there and just started getting better and better. And obviously it was a pretty cool moment to be a part of, helping him get going. And me and his family became close, and I talk to them weekly now and usually go out there and coach them about once a week, once every 2 weeks now.
Where do they live?
They live out in Chilliwack, so not too far.
Right. Okay. Now you mentioned the Future West that you're designing the tracks. I saw this video from this year, and I think that looked like I've seen a lot of years there. That looked like the best track I've ever seen this year, man. Nice job. Yeah,
obviously we've kind of we've toned some things down, but trying to make it safer every time, but still make it exciting for every class and every rider. So yeah, there were some good tracks this year. Obviously there's a bit of a fiasco, was it almost 2 years ago now, with that flagger and stuff, and WCB getting involved, and we had to switch it from having flaggers on the track to using lights. We went to a light system, so that kind of allowed us to use more of the track or more of the arena as well, and not have platforms for the flaggers to stand on, and more like laneways. So yeah, and it's just trying to get creative and come up with new stuff every time.
Yeah, poor Cade Clayson was the guy who hit that, she ran across and everything. But how has that affected? Has that affected, spectators wouldn't really see a difference, would they? I know it affects James Lissamore, and we can't get on the track taking photos and things like that quite the same anymore. But has it affected anything that way, or is it just business as usual?
No, it's just business as usual. I think at first, or maybe not at first, but maybe now, some of the parents, trying to get out there to cheer their kid on, and we don't allow that now unless it's the 4 to 6 class. I think we designate 4 parents, and then obviously a couple of outside people like myself or Ryan to be out on the track to help those kids. But yeah, it's all fenced off now, which is probably for the better. Keep everyone off the side of the track. and there's more of a structure now. And, I think it was something that needed to happen. And it's working out well right now. So.
Oh, that's good. Now, what about the gates? How's the health of BC motocross? How are we looking there in the younger classes and stuff? Is it strong? How is it?
Yeah, like obviously me and Ryan are still doing the schools, and we have the new kid kind of beginner schools going, and they're full. We sell those out every time. And then obviously the new kid beginner class is probably one of the biggest classes we have. I think there's like on average like 16 kids in that class all year long. So I mean, we're talking about they're brand new. They've never even rode on a track before. They got the XR50 or the old Kawasaki little 50, that whatever the heck that thing is. It's the Suzuki, I think it is what it was, DRZ 50
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
Okay, sure.
You got these old bikes, and the kids are stoked, and they all get trophies, and then they bump up to their regular class and they continue on. And yeah, the younger classes are packed and they're full, and there's a lot of great riders coming up. So I think it's looking good.
No, that's good to know. Hey, what's everything like? What are you doing for your 9 to 5 these days? And are you working right now with this virus thing?
Yeah, so run an excavator, work for a construction company. My boss's kid actually races, Luke Swenson. You might have seen some pictures of him or came across his name from looking into our Chilliwack Arena Cross races. But yeah, so he's been great. Obviously a full moto dad, and when it comes to motocross, it kind of comes first over work. So that part's been cool, to get time off. And he donates a lot of the equipment to go build these tracks. But yeah, so just in the construction world, running equipment, and kind of took on a manager job for him, kind of helping him run the company and take care of all of our employees. And yeah, things are a bit slow right now because of this virus, but there's a couple of us still going, staying busy, so it's okay.
Well, that's good. I remember when you first left moto and started working. I remember we joked together about how you're not throwing money out anymore. You're actually putting stuff in the bank, so it must be kind of nice.
Yeah, well, it's nice to know what you're gonna get paid every 2 weeks instead of hoping that you're if you win or you lose, it's a difference of quite a few $1,000s. So it's nice to have some security now, and you can plan stuff, and yeah, it's way easier on the brain anyways.
Now, did you say, are you a homeowner now? Like, you owning the place you're in, or what's that?
No, we're just renting.
Right.
We're planning on buying this year, but now with all this stuff going on, I mean, it could work to our advantage with the housing market to come down. But also, who knows what the banks are going to do as far as mortgages and loans and stuff like that. So I think we're just going to sit back, continue to rent for this year, let the baby come, and kind of figure it out from there.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, how about we take, man, they went through some trouble to send these questions, so let's ask one here. Oh,
Okay.
Wait a minute, he's asking all the same ones. Oh, wait a second, there's one about Colton. Let's see what he said here. Let's get to it. If I can get this ready. Come on, let's watch me fumble through my phone here. Where'd he go? He wanted to know about your most poignant motocross memory was, so that maybe that'll kind of, we'll kind of share the whole thing with Brent Worrell out there in Vernon. Hey Brent, thanks for asking, and hope you're doing well out there, you and Gisela. He wants to know, and just like the point of my phone call, not only just to wish you a happy birthday, but I think when this kind of time when there's no racing going on, it's kind of fun to talk to guys like you who maybe you've retired, you're doing your own thing now. Talk about what is your greatest racing memory of all time. There it is, our marquee question.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be Sandali 2008. I pulled both hole shots that year, or that day, led every lap, and yeah, went 1-1. And if you ever do one with Noof, this is his worst weekend ever.
Oh, is that right?
He talks about it all the time. But yeah, it was the best weekend I had. Like it didn't get any easier than that. It was almost like too easy because everything just like slid into place. And, that year was a good year for me too. I had so much fun that year. We traveled across the country with the Strattons and obviously with Spenny as well. And it was just, and the Allisons, it was just a big family moving across Canada. And, but yeah, that race was one for the books. It couldn't go any better than that.
Okay, cool. or was that 2007? Was that the year the 450 race was insane? The top 5 guys were just battling the nonstop, or was that the year before maybe? When Holman's was up there battling and stuff like that. Might have been the year before.
I think that was the year before with that class.
Yeah, that was incredible. I can't really remember year 2008. Sorry, I can't remember that one, but I'll have to go. I should have asked you beforehand, then gone and dug out some photos. So I couldn't really show it. I could hold up a photo, print one out or something. But
yeah, so that would have been the last year that I rode for Clearbrook.
Oh, okay.
So that was number 22 that year.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there've been some good BC 22s out there over the years.
Yeah, Hoyer, I think, ran it.
Yeah, he did for sure.
Who else would have run that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of you and Hoyer mostly, but
yeah, didn't Dylan Kalin run it at one point too?
Oh, maybe Dylan Kalin. Yeah, but he's an Ontario kid.
Yeah, true.
True. Well, he used to.
Yeah, I think he's in Alberta now, I think, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
He's all over the place. You see him here and there, so who knows where he's at?
He's all over, just like a true motocrosser, right? You gotta cruise around. All right, buddy. Well, man, anything else we need to talk about? I mean, that was the main thing I want to know. What was your greatest thing? Wish you a happy 32nd birthday. But yeah, I mean, do you want to thank some people over the years or anything like that? Or
yeah, obviously, I'd like to thank yourself and all the media people that are still involved with the sport and put their heart and soul into getting Canadian motocross out there. It's cool, and it helps all these young guys coming up to get noticed and some exposure. So you guys are doing a great job still. And then all the fans and stuff that over the years that I've got to meet, and a lot of them become like family and still talk to them to these days. And then obviously Yamaha was a huge part of it, and Ed from Clearbrook Yamaha. So they were, the turning point for me in my career. And just, every other sponsor I've ever had, Fox and Shift were a big part of my career right from day one. So big thanks to them. And just anyone else who I'm missing. But thanks to everyone.
Hey, do you want to throw your motocross school partner, Noof, under the bus with a funny story about him to go out on, or no?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember when he retired for the first, I think it might have been the first time, and he had tears at Chilliwack?
It's been like 13 times now. Remember they did a video? They did a video the one time.
Oh, I shot the video of him doing his retirement.
Oh, okay, yeah. Are you counting that as one, or?
I think that might have been one. I'm not sure. There were tears.
One of 13 retirement parties.
I'm not sure he cried every time, though.
Yeah, who knows, man? He's had a few of them.
Sorry, Ryan.
Mathis likes bugging him about that too. But I don't know. I don't really got anything else. I mean, I think he's been thrown under the bus for years, but he's always good to be around, and always a good chuckle with stuff. But next time you talk to him, I'll let him tell the story about Sand Del Lee 2008.
Oh, right.
Because he tells it the best. So you can ask him that, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that this week. We'll call him up, and that'll be we'll just talk about what he's doing, obviously, and we'll have him tell that story. That'll be good.
Right on.
And you didn't mention my 1983 Hully Gully House League 80B third place jacket in the background.
Oh yeah, sorry. What is it? Does that say Hully Gully right on the front? I can't even see it.
It says Hully Gully 1983.
What? And you were on 80s then?
Yeah, I don't start doing math.
Okay. It looks pretty small. It looks like a small jacket, Billy.
It was too small for me then. I grew this tall and I was still riding 80s.
Right.
But it's funny because it says Schoolboy 80B on the thing. So everybody, when I'd wear it, everybody called me Schoolboy Bob. Some reason, yeah.
Is that why it's still in good condition? Because it didn't fit you properly?
Yeah, I guess so. I was messing around, going through some stuff here, and I found that with like some a dry cleaner's wrap on it, and I'm like, what? And there it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy shit.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of. I should probably go through all my old stuff. I'm sure I could find some cool stuff as well. I still got the bronze boot out though. I still keep that in the living room.
Do you really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's out front and center.
This doesn't normally live here. Trust me.
Yeah. For now it might.
Yeah, for now, special occasions. It's the studio backdrop now.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Kyle. Hey, buddy. Thank you very much for doing this, man. It was great catching up with you. Fun telling some old stories. I mean, there's obviously a whole bunch more too we could probably talk about, of course, but we'll let it go at that, man. Just happy birthday. What are your birthday plans?
Not much. Obviously, we can't do much these
Oh,
days
lots,
right
man.
now with this whole virus thing. But yeah, I don't know. Probably just have a good dinner with the family here and hang out with them for the day and try and get over to the park and do something. Get outside. It's a beautiful day, so try and soak in some of those rays.
Right. Well, hey, man, congratulations and good luck with the firstborn. Did you tell us, was it a boy or a girl? Do you know? Did you say that?
It's gonna be a boy. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, I'm sure we'll be crazy 50 daddy here in no time.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, hey, happy birthday. Have a great time there. And we'll keep in touch. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Billy. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Also, hey, I guess I should thank Leatt too. Let me thank Leatt one more time. Kyle's still there. Okay, this is really it. See you later.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to shut this thing down.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna leave that in as an outtake. I know.